What if I told you that the key to mastering your life isn't about adding more productivity hacks or trying to think positive every single day? What if the real power lies in learning how to declutter your mind? And I'm not just talking about meditating or throwing out some old papers. I mean clearing out all the mental junk that's holding you back from your true potential. Sound like a challenge? Well, it is. But it's also the most freeing thing you'll ever do. The truth is, we've all been there. We're overwhelmed, constantly stressed, and feel like our minds are running in circles. But here's the bold part. The real secret isn't about managing your thoughts. It's about getting rid of the ones that don't serve you. Stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to share a simple, no-nonsense guide to decluttering your mind for good. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll have the tools you need to create mental space, find your focus, and reclaim control over your life. Don't go anywhere, because this might just be the most transformative thing you've ever heard. Let's dive in. Number 1. Embrace the mess. Why disorder is your brain's best friend. Ever notice how the more you try to organize your life, the more overwhelmed you feel? The truth is, we've all been there, tripping over piles of to-do lists, color-coded calendars, and that constant pressure to have everything in perfect order. You might be thinking, isn't a tidy mind supposed to equal a productive mind? Well, not always. In fact, embracing a little chaos might be just what your brain needs to thrive. Yes, trust me on this one. Disorder might actually be your brain's best friend. You know the type. That person who has their days scheduled down to the minute, their desk spotless, and their life seeming like it's constantly in control. But we've all had those moments where, despite all the organization, we still feel mentally cluttered. Ever been so organized that you find yourself paralyzed by the sheer number of things you think you should be doing? Yeah, that's your mind stuck in overdrive. You're trying to keep everything neat and tidy, but your brain, it's freaking out, suffocating under all that pressure. Here's the kicker. It's okay to embrace a bit of mess. Research actually shows that some degree of disorder can fuel creativity and problem solving. Think about it. When you're not trapped in a cycle of perfectionism, your mind is free to wander, to play, to come up with new ideas. It's not about throwing your life into chaos, but about allowing some room for spontaneity. No, this isn't a let's throw everything in the air and see what happens type of mess. It's about letting go of the relentless need for control. You don't need to have everything neatly planned out to be successful. Sometimes the best ideas come when you least expect them, when your mind is free to explore rather than forced to follow rigid lines. I know, you're probably skeptical. But won't this just make me more stressed? You're thinking. Trust me, it's counterintuitive at first, but letting go of that constant need for control can actually bring a deep sense of relief. For instance, I remember this one time I was in the middle of a big project. My desk was a disaster, papers everywhere, coffee cups, pens scattered in a million directions. But here's the thing, I wasn't stressed out about it. In fact, that chaos helped me focus. I wasn't checking boxes or trying to get everything in its proper place. I was letting my brain breathe, and in that mess, I found clarity. The result? A breakthrough idea that I wouldn't have had if I'd been obsessing over tidiness. It was a mess, yes, but it was my mess, and it led to something great. So here's the thing. Embracing the mess doesn't just declutter your physical space, it frees up your mind. It's about reclaiming your peace by letting go of the constant pressure to have everything perfectly aligned. This isn't just about a cleaner desk, it's about creating space for new thoughts, new ideas, and new ways of approaching life. You don't have to over-explain yourself or make sure everything is perfect. You get to say, this is my space, and I get to fill it however I want. And that, my friend, is true mental freedom. Remember, your space, your peace, and your creativity are yours to define. Don't let the need for perfect order steal your mental clarity. By embracing a little mess, you're actually making room for the clarity and ideas that matter most. It's time to let go of the clutter, both physical and mental, and make room for the greatness that's already inside you. Number 2, say no to mindfulness. Why doing less might free your mind. What if I told you that doing less could actually help you clear your mind? I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? You've probably heard a million times that mindfulness is the secret to mental clarity, that you need to meditate, breathe, and find peace in every moment. But here's the truth. For some of us, all that mindfulness stuff might actually be making things worse. Yes, trust me on this. Sometimes the best way to declutter your brain is to stop trying so hard to clear it. Now you might be thinking, wait, isn't mindfulness supposed to be the key to mental clarity? Well, yes, but here's the catch. Mindfulness can easily turn into another thing you feel pressured to do perfectly. You find yourself forcing focus, analyzing your thoughts, and then stressing out when you can't get it right. Ever caught yourself obsessing over how well you're meditating? It's like you're trying to be relaxed, but then you start stressing about being relaxed. The irony isn't lost on us. So, what if, instead of doubling down on trying to calm your mind, you just stop trying so hard? We've all been there. You know the type. The one who's always doing something. Journaling, breathing exercises, guided meditations, trying to check off every box of self-care. But deep down, it feels like you're just adding more tasks to your already busy mental list. The truth is, in the quest for peace, you might be creating more mental clutter. Think about it. When we're constantly told to mindfully process every feeling and thought, we're not actually getting any space for our minds to breathe. We're filling it with thoughts about our thoughts. Sounds exhausting, doesn't it? Here's where it gets interesting. The strategy isn't to keep adding layers of mindfulness practices. Instead, it's to embrace doing less, specifically letting go of the mental obligation to constantly work on your mind. This might sound a bit passive-aggressive, but hear me out. Doing less, like engaging in simple physical activities, walking, dancing, cooking, or allowing your mind to wander freely without judgment, is actually a proven way to declutter your brain. Think of it like this. When you're not micromanaging every thought, you create space for natural clarity to emerge. It's like giving your brain room to stretch and think without always being on a mental treadmill. I remember this one time when I was struggling with the overbearing pressure to meditate. I had set aside mindful time each day, 5 minutes to focus on my breathing, empty my mind, and be at peace. But the more I tried, the more stressed I became about failing at it. Eventually I said, forget it, and just went for a walk instead, letting my mind wander as I listened to the crunch of leaves under my feet. By the end of it, I felt clearer, lighter, and more at peace than I ever did after my failed meditation sessions. In that moment, doing less allowed my mind to reset in a way I couldn't force. This is about giving yourself permission to do less, to stop overworking your mind with constant self-improvement tactics. By letting go of that mental weight, you reclaim your peace. You don't need to keep fighting to fix your mind. You don't need to over-explain your feelings or fill every minute with structured self-care. This is your mental space, and you have the power to fill it however you want, or not fill it at all. And trust me, sometimes not filling it is the best thing you can do for your mental health. So remember, your peace doesn't come from forcing it. It comes from allowing yourself to step back, to pause, and to just be. Your space, your mind, your freedom. Stop trying so hard to fix what isn't broken. Let go and watch your clarity unfold naturally. Number 3, declutter by ditching your to-do list. What if I told you that your to-do list is making you less productive, not more? Sounds crazy, right? We've all been taught that having a list of tasks is the secret to staying on top of things, to ticking off boxes and getting things done. But here's the reality. That to-do list you're clinging to might actually be weighing you down. Yes, trust me on this one. Sometimes the best way to declutter your mind is to ditch the list. Now, you might be thinking, but how am I supposed to get things done without a to-do list? I get it. I've been there too. You feel like you're constantly fighting against a mountain of tasks, and that list gives you the illusion of control. But here's the thing. Having a to-do list isn't actually about getting things done. It's about feeling productive. You check off a few tasks, and for a moment, everything seems in order. But if you're being honest with yourself, you know that the more tasks you add, the more cluttered your mind becomes. You're still stressing, still thinking about the next thing, still trying to keep everything aligned. It's exhausting, isn't it? We've all been there, right? You know the type. Your phone screen is full of apps for reminders, lists, and calendar events. You make your lists for the day, the week, the month. But somehow, at the end of the day, you still feel like there's something left undone. Why? Because lists can create an endless cycle of next and more without ever giving you a moment to pause and appreciate what you've accomplished. Instead of giving you clarity, they end up clouding your mind with one more thing to check off. And guess what? That feeling of always having something to do just leads to mental clutter. So, here's the twist. Instead of relying on your to-do list, try something radically different. Focus on how you feel and what energizes you. This isn't about tossing your responsibilities aside or ignoring your goals. It's about letting go of the constant pressure to be task-oriented and shifting to an energy-based approach. Instead of checking boxes, focus on what feels important in the moment, what aligns with your energy. When you're working from that place of intuition, you're no longer just getting through your day. You're living it, fully engaged in what truly matters. I'll admit, at first, this felt terrifying to me. I used to have long to-do lists, each one with a million things to check off. Then, one day, I decided to try something different. I put down the list and decided to just be present, doing what felt right at the moment without obsessing over the next item. I woke up, decided what felt like the most important task, and did it. No lists, no reminders. At first, I felt like I was wasting time, but after a week, I realized something. I was getting more done without stressing over it. I wasn't constantly worrying about what I hadn't done. My energy was focused, and I was completing tasks faster and more efficiently. It wasn't about lists anymore. It was about what actually needed to get done. This shift isn't just about productivity. It's about reclaiming your peace of mind. You deserve to have space in your day where you don't feel chained to a never-ending list of things to do. You deserve to trust yourself enough to know what needs attention and when. This isn't about abandoning structure. It's about freeing yourself from the self-imposed pressure to check off everything all the time. You have the power to decide what matters. So, remember this: your peace, your energy, your focus, they're more important than any list. Let go of the need to control every minute and trust that by doing less, you'll actually get more done. It's time to ditch the list and reclaim your life, your space, your peace, and your clarity, without the clutter. Number 4, cut out. Toxic positivity. Face your dark thoughts head on. Here's a radical idea. What if the key to true happiness isn't in thinking positive all the time, but in embracing your dark thoughts? I know, that sounds a little unconventional, doesn't it? You've probably heard that the secret to a good life is to stay positive or just think happy thoughts. But let's be real here. Sometimes that's just not enough. In fact, Pushing away the tough stuff and pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows can actually make you feel worse. Now you might be thinking, but isn't positivity supposed to help us feel better? Well, yes and no. Let's dig into this. We've all been there, right? You know the type. The person who tells you everything happens for a reason, or just think positive and it'll get better when you're struggling. It feels nice on the surface, but deep down, it just doesn't cut it. We've all been taught to suppress those tough emotions, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, as though they're something to be ashamed of. But here's the thing, avoiding or ignoring those darker emotions doesn't actually make them go away. They build up, they fester, and eventually they show up in ways you don't expect, often in the form of anxiety or burnout. Here's the twist. The real way to deal with dark thoughts and emotions isn't to cover them up with a smile and some positive affirmations. It's to face them head on, to sit with them and let them be part of your experience. I know this might sound a little counterintuitive, but hear me out. When we confront the negative stuff instead of burying it under a pile of good vibes, we process it in a healthy way. The more we run from our negative thoughts, the more power we give them. But when we stop avoiding them, we take away their control over us. You don't need to be positive all the time. You just need to be real. And being real means embracing all parts of yourself, even the messy, dark parts. Let me give you an example. A while ago, I was going through a rough patch. Work stress, relationship struggles, you name it. I'd been trying to think positive and ignore all the negative feelings I had. But guess what? The more I ignored them, the more overwhelmed I felt. One day, I just couldn't take it anymore. Instead of brushing everything off, I allowed myself to feel the frustration, the sadness, even the anger. I didn't try to fix it. I didn't force myself to be better. I just sat with it. And you know what? After a while, those emotions started to lose their grip on me. I wasn't consumed by them anymore. I realized that facing the darkness made room for the light. It wasn't about ignoring the tough stuff. It was about accepting it, processing it, and moving forward. This is what true emotional empowerment looks like. It's about reclaiming your space and your peace by not running from the tough stuff. You don't need to over-explain your feelings or apologize for not being okay. You don't need to smile through your pain or pretend to be upbeat when you're not. Let those dark thoughts in and allow them to be a part of your story. They don't define you. They're just a chapter. And the more you embrace them, the less they have power over you. So here's the takeaway. Stop clinging to the pressure of toxic positivity. It's okay to feel dark, to feel down, to feel angry. Face it, accept it, and move forward. Your peace doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It comes from being real, being honest, and embracing all of who you are. Your space, your peace, your truth. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Number 5. Unfollow everyone. The mental freedom of digital detox. Here's a bold thought. What if unfollowing everyone on social media could actually make you feel more connected to yourself? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. But how will I know what's going on in the world? How will I keep up with trends? Trust me, I get it. Social media is designed to pull us in, keep us scrolling, and make us feel like we're always in the loop. But here's the kicker. The more you scroll, the less in control you actually feel. You don't need to be plugged into everyone's life to have one of your own. And that's what I want to talk about today. The mental freedom that comes with a digital detox. Let's face it, we've all been there, right? You wake up, grab your phone, and before you even have your morning coffee, you're bombarded with updates, texts, emails, Instagram stories, TikTok videos, tweets. It's like a never-ending loop of other people's lives. You start your day feeling like you've already used up all your mental energy just processing what everyone else is doing. But here's the kicker. Most of that content, as interesting as it may seem in the moment, doesn't actually add value to your day. Instead, it's just noise. And you, my friend, deserve more than just noise. Now imagine this. What if you could start your day without the constant buzz of notifications or the pressure to check your feed every few minutes? What if you could unfollow everyone and reclaim your mental space? I know it might sound like an extreme move, but hear me out. When you stop consuming so much digital content, you give your mind the space to actually think for itself. You stop being influenced by what everyone else is doing and start listening to your own thoughts. This isn't about shutting out the world. It's about turning down the volume so you can hear your own voice more clearly. I actually tried this out for a week. I unfollowed everyone on Instagram and Facebook, friends, influencers, brands, the whole shebang. At first, it felt weird. I wondered if I was missing out. But as the days went by, something amazing happened. I had more energy, more mental clarity, and, this is key, more time. Time that I could actually use to focus on my own goals, read the books I had been putting off, or just enjoy being in the moment without constantly checking my phone. It was like a weight had been lifted. I stopped feeling the pressure to keep up with everyone's curated highlight reels and started living in my own. Here's the thing. Unfollowing doesn't mean disconnecting from the world. It means reconnecting with yourself. You're no longer overwhelmed by the endless stream of information, and you regain control over your mental space. This isn't about avoiding connection. It's about protecting your peace. Think about it. How often do you feel drained after scrolling through your feed? How often do you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel? The truth is, the more we consume, the more we feel like we're missing out. But the reality is, you're not missing anything by stepping away for a bit. In fact, you'll be amazed at how much more you gain. So here's my challenge to you. Try unfollowing everyone for a week. See how it feels. Reclaim your space, your peace, and your time. Focus on the things that matter to you, not the things that are constantly vying for your attention. When you take that step back, you'll realize that you have everything you need to live the life you want. Your mind, your time, your energy, they're yours to keep, and no amount of likes or shares can give that back to you. Thank you so much for sticking with me until the end. I really hope this video was helpful and gave you some fresh insights on how to declutter your mind. If you found value in it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on more content like this. And hey, if you know someone who could use a little mental decluttering in their life, share this video with them. It could make a big difference. I'd also love to hear your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments below. What strategies have worked for you in clearing your mind? Let's build a community around this idea and support each other in our journey to mental clarity. Remember, decluttering your mind isn't just about getting rid of the unnecessary. It's about making space for what truly matters. Keep going, and I'll see you in the next one.